What's up guys, I'm Andy from 1A Auto. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the rear sway bar on this 2001 BMW 325 Xi. If you need parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1AAuto.com. Now I'm going to raise and support the vehicle. We're using a 2-post lift. If you're doing this at your house, you can use a jack and jack stands. With the vehicle raised up in the back, I'm going to take a 13mm socket extension and a ratchet. There's 2 nuts right here that are attached to the links. One here and one here. I'm going to take both of those nuts out. Now this nut on this side is very close to the drive to one of the axle shafts. So you're not going to be able to use a deep socket. You're going to have to use a shallow socket on that one. So the bolt was spinning up top, so I have to use a 17mm socket and a ratchet up top so that I can hold the bolt from spinning while I loosen up the nut underneath. I'm going to use an air ratchet to loosen up the nut underneath. It'll make it a little easier. We sell these air ratchets at 1AAuto.com. If you don't have an air ratchet, you can just use a regular ratchet. Take that nut off. And I'm going to do the same for the other one. Just move the 17mm socket over to the other side and loosen up this nut. I'll take that nut off. This is loose. Now what I'm going to do is do the same with the other side. Loosen up the other 2 bolts on the driver's side. So we took these bolts out on both sides for the links, for that bracket right there. Next we're going to take these nuts out for the sway bar bushings. There's one there and then one up here above the exhaust. If the nuts are rusty, make sure you spray some rust penetrant. I'm going to take a 13mm socket and a ratchet. Get that on, loosen these up. Alright, so the bolt is spinning on the other side, so I'm going to use a 13mm socket and a ratchet on the other side. Hold the bolt while I take the nut off. Alright, now I can pull that nut out and the bolt. Alright, I want a little bit more room to take this bushing, the mount off of that. I don't have a lot of room in there because of the exhaust. So I'm going to take a pry bar, just slide this bushing, this exhaust mount off right here. And there's another exhaust mount over here. Just slide that off. Off. All right, that gave me a little more room. So I can push it to the side a little bit. Get in here. All right, from the front of this, I'm just gonna use the 13mm socket and the ratchet. I'm just using a pry bar to help guide me on to the nut. Loosen this up. And I'm going to put another socket and ratchet on the other side. All right, finally got that nut out and the bolt out. And these are pretty rusty, so I'm just going to take a pry bar, pry this out. Pry it back here, pry it back over here. So that's off of there. Just want to try to get this past the axle. Just like that, drive axle. And then I can twist this side. And twist it right up. And there you go. There's the rear sway bar. take the bar in this position. We're going to go over the exhaust. Slide this over, just like that. And then the bar is going to be in that location. We're going to have to send that like that. Just get that lined up like that. Just going to rotate these. There's these little slots. These little tabs are going to go in those slots, just like that. There we go. Get that lined up like that. All right, it's looking pretty good. Before I put the bolts in where the bushings are, I'm going to take the bolts, at least get the links lined up in position. If the bolts fell off from up top, put those back in. And then take the nuts. Get the nuts started. I'm going to do that with all 4 of these. But I'm not going to tighten those up yet until I get the bushings on, the bolts for the bushings. And I'll do the same for the other side. Okay, with all those bolts in just loose, then I'm going to take this bolt right here for the bushing, line this up. I'm just going to use a pry bar to try to pry that back into position, or you can use some large pliers and try to squeeze it, get that where it needs to be. Get this bolt started. Then you're going to get the nut on the back side. Do that on both sides. I'm going to use a 13mm wrench and a 13mm socket and a ratchet. Tighten these up. Do the same for the other side. From the top side, I'm going to take a 17mm socket, extension, and a ratchet. Just going to hold the bolt from up top. And then take a 13mm socket, extension, and a ratchet. Tighten the nuts up from underneath. Do the same on both sides. If you had to disconnect the vacuum for this exhaust valve right here, you're going to reattach that. And then there's these mounts. Slide the mounts in position. If you have to, you can use a little soapy water. It's a good idea not to use any type of lubricant because you don't really want them to slip out by accident. So the soapy water will evaporate. And slide that on. And slide the other one on.
Thanks for watching. Visit 1AAuto.com for quality auto parts shipped to your door, the place for DIY auto repair. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button.